Some buildings are more than just brick and mortar. They are repositories of secrets, archives of sorrow. Over time, they develop a dark gravity, pulling stories of tragedy into their very walls. In the heart of Los Angeles, on the edge of Skid Row, stands such a place, the Cecil Hotel. For nearly a century, its rooms and corridors have been silent witnesses to the final moments of the desperate and the damned. It has been a stage for suicides, murders, and the temporary home of some of America's most notorious serial killers. But in 2013, the Cecil would become the epicenter of a mystery that captivated and terrified the world. A mystery that began not with a scream, but with a silent, impossible question. How did a 21-year-old tourist on the adventure of a lifetime vanish from a locked hotel, only to be found in a concrete coffin 4 stories above the city? It started with complaints. A trickle at first, then a flood. The water pressure on the upper floors was weak. The taste was wrong, foul. Some guests said it was dark, almost black. For days, the residents and guests at the Cecil Hotel had been drinking it, bathing in it, brushing their teeth with it. Finally, on the morning of February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez was sent to investigate the source of the problem, the 4 massive water cisterns located on the hotel's roof. He noticed it immediately. The heavy metal hatch on one of the tanks was open, not wide, just askew. He climbed the service ladder attached to the side of the tank, a feeling of unease growing with every step. He peered into the darkness, and the mystery of the tainted water was solved by a horror far worse than anyone could have imagined. Floating face up, just inches from the top, was the naked, decomposing body of a young woman. She had been missing for 19 days. Her name was Elisa Lam. Before she was a mystery, Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old student from the University of British Columbia, a traveler, a writer. On her blog, she chronicled her life with a raw, poetic honesty, particularly her ongoing struggle with bipolar disorder and depression. In January 2013, she embarked on a solo trip down the American West Coast, a journey she excitedly called her West Coast Tour. She traveled alone by Amtrak and intercity buses, documenting her adventure for her friends and followers. On January 26th, she arrived in Los Angeles. 2 days later, she checked into the Cecil Hotel. She was initially assigned a shared room on the hotel's 5th floor, but her roommates soon complained to management about what the hotel's lawyer would later describe as certain odd behavior. The hotel moved her to a private room of her own. On January 31st, the day she was scheduled to check out and travel to Santa Cruz, she was seen at the last bookstore just a few blocks from the Cecil. She was buying gifts to take home to her family. The store's manager, Katie Orphan, later recalled her as outgoing, very lively, very friendly. It was the last time anyone could definitively recall seeing her alive. That night, she failed to make her daily call home to her parents in British Columbia. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Elisa Lam had vanished. To understand what might have happened to Elisa, you have to understand where she was. The Cecil wasn't just any hotel, it was a place locals nicknamed the Suicide, a vertical graveyard where death was a long-term resident. But the hotel wasn't just a magnet for the desperate, it was a haven for predators. In the mid-1980s, Richard Ramirez, the infamous Night Stalker, lived in a room on the top floor for just $14 a night. He would reportedly return from his gruesome murders, dispose of his bloody clothes in the hotel dumpster, and walk through the lobby, his presence going unnoticed in the chaos of the Cecil. In 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger checked in, allegedly to emulate Ramirez. He used the hotel as a base to stalk and murder at least 3 local prostitutes. The Cecil was a place where darkness checked in and sometimes never checked out. With no leads and her family desperate for answers, the LAPD released the last known footage of Elisa Lam on February 13th. It was just under 4 minutes of grainy surveillance video, and it would turn a missing person case into a global obsession. Watch closely. She steps in, presses multiple buttons, but the doors don't close. Why? Is she accidentally pressing the door hold button? Is the old elevator simply malfunctioning? Or as many would come to believe, is someone just out of frame holding it open. She peers out, cautiously at first, then jumps back in, pressing herself into the corner as if hiding from a pursuer. But there's no one there. Her movements become more frantic, her hands gesturing as if in a silent, one-sided conversation with someone, or something, unseen. The video went viral. It was viewed millions of times in a matter of days. Armchair detectives across the globe dissected every pixel, and the theories erupted. She was playing the elevator game, a supposed Korean urban legend ritual for entering another dimension. She was hiding from a killer who worked at the hotel. The video was tampered with by the police, they claimed, slowed down with nearly a minute of crucial footage removed to hide a second person's involvement. The footage was no longer just a piece of evidence. It had become a modern ghost story, a digital legend. The public had been primed for a horror story by the hotel's blood-soaked history, and the ambiguous video provided the perfect script. In the dark corners of the internet, the ghost in the machine was very, very real. While the internet chased ghosts, the LAPD chased physical leads. They searched Elisa's room. All of her belongings were still there: her wallet, her computer, her prescription medications. There were no signs of a struggle, no indication of foul play. K9 units were brought in to track her scent. The dogs followed a clear trail from her fifth-floor room directly to a window that provided access to an external fire escape. And there, the trail went cold. The roof itself was searched early in the investigation, but the dogs found no trace of her. The doors leading to the roof were locked and alarmed, with access restricted to staff. How could she have possibly gotten up there? The web sleuths offered their own answers. They pointed to the eerie, almost unbelievable similarities with the horror film Dark Water, in which a young girl is found dead in a rooftop water tank after residents complain about tainted water. They discovered a bizarre coincidence. A recent outbreak of tuberculosis on Skid Row was being managed with a diagnostic test called the Lam Elisa. Was she a biological weapon, silenced after she learned too much? A government experiment gone wrong? The theories were elaborate, compelling, and layered in coincidence, but they were all built on a foundation of shadows, ignoring the one place where the truth was quietly waiting to be found: in the science. On June 21, 2013, months after her body was found, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office released its final comprehensive report. The speculation was over. The facts were in. The toxicology report was the key that unlocked the entire mystery. It showed that while Elisa had taken some of her antidepressants, she had recently stopped taking her mood stabilizers and antipsychotics. For someone with a severe form of bipolar disorder, this is a catalyst for disaster. Her family confirmed to investigators that she had a history of not taking her medication. This had led to previous psychotic episodes involving intense paranoia and hallucinations, which would cause her to hide in places she felt were safe, like under her bed. The puzzle pieces clicked into place. The erratic behavior in the elevator was not a ghost or a killer. It was the terrifying internal reality of a manic, paranoid hallucination. The unseen pursuer was a figment of her psychosis. She likely fled to the fire escape, the end of her scent trail, seeking refuge. She climbed to the roof, a place she may have believed was safe from the danger she perceived. In her state, she hid inside one of the water tanks, perhaps pulling the heavy lid closed over herself. It was an act not of suicide, but of a desperate search for safety from a threat that existed only in her mind. The official cause of death: accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. In the end, the story of Elisa Lam is not a ghost story. It is a profound human tragedy. The true horror at the Cecil Hotel that night wasn't a phantom in the hallways, but the silent, devastating storm of a mental health crisis. The internet will forever chase the shadows in that elevator footage, but the truth is quieter and infinitely more heartbreaking. It's the story of a bright, vibrant young woman, lost not to a monster, but to an illness she fought with incredible courage and honesty. The world is full of dark, silent places where the truth is often quieter than speculation. If you feel compelled to explore these stories with us, subscribe to The Dark Silent and join our search for understanding. Thank you for watching.